Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is February the 21st, 2022, and today the topic is the Lord of Life. I hope you all had a great weekend. Mine was just fine. A rather busy weekend on Saturday, but then Sunday turned out not to be as busy as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, man, that's pretty much how my weekend went in a nutshell. I mean, shout out to my mother and Inspirational Outreach for hosting a lovely Valentine's Gala, the African Valentine's Gala to be exact. If you look at different pages on my social media, then you probably see different images and whatnot from that event. Yeah. I mean, overall, I believe that she had a great event. CYOW TV, Kelvin and I, we showed up and we did a little something the whole time we were improvising, and it was funny because basically the scenario was that like he was acting like we were acting like we were this couple that had some issues or whatnot, and I was the disgruntled wife, and Kelvin was I guess he was also supposed to be the disgruntled husband, but then he was working so hard and it was just like hard to pick on him the whole time, because I had women like pulling me to the side and was like, you need to do better, and he's a good man for coming and all this stuff. I'm like, man, these ladies is on your side today. But it was a good time, man. It was a good time. And I think we wrapped it up in a good way to because I mean, honestly, yeah, after listening to the speakers that was there and enjoying the event and whatnot, there was no way that my character could stay disgruntled about her husband, so I had to apologize. I had to humble myself and apologize. Or at least my character did. And so that was the funny thing too, because obviously I was in my hometown, and so people knew me, but then there were some people that might not have known me as much. And so it was like finding that balance between them treating me as if I was me, and then versus treating me as if I was my character. And so it was an interesting scenario and everything like that. But I mean, hey, it was a good time, and thank you, Mom, for the invitation and everything like that. So yeah. Obviously, you guys can find out more about Kelvin and I. Go to thecastmovie.com for more information about us actors and everything. But yeah, that was my busy day Saturday. Obviously we were traveling down there, and we had to go to Kelvin. That was another thing because he's in the city now. He's a city dweller. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So anyway. And I was supposed to do an event yesterday. I believe I shared with you all about that, but that got rescheduled, and I'm like, what is going on with our 2022 events? Like, you'll get booked and then we got to reschedule it, because the first event of this year would happen that way, and then now this one. But I understand that things happen and everything like that, so we make some arrangements and whatnot. So shout out to Bro Rose Bites for being flexible with your girl and whatnot. I know we got a chance to chit chat a little bit yesterday, and about what kind of moves we need to make business wise and whatnot. So y'all be praying with us about that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still in between. I'm like, I tell y'all all the time, like I'm enjoying the things that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying hustling from home and being creative, and God is opening doors for me to be able to create these different products and books and this show and just everything. And so yeah, so I'm like, investing more into that makes sense, because that's what I'm currently doing. Um, but at the same time, I know obviously my business and whatnot. I mean, we can make some moves with that and get some other things established as well. So yeah, just pray for guidance and whatnot in that area. So if you all want to pray along with me, you know what I'm saying, to the Lord Christ Jesus, then by all means, I humbly, accept that, and everything like that. But look, in my alley voice, right? In my alley Carter voice, don't bring no bad juju because I don't need that. But anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on, man. A little bit about probably a little TMI. So sorry about that. But anywho, um, again, thank God for my husband. So obviously things are a little different now. You know what I'm saying? That he's in a transitional moment. And so, but he's basically, yeah, was still my contingency plan this morning because I heard my alarm. But next thing I know, here he is waking me up around 4:30 or something. And I'm like, oh, I must have fell back asleep. I don't know. Obviously I did. And the cool thing was I offered for him to, listen to the prayer meditation with me, and he did. He did. So shout out to him, man. Thought he was going to end up observing my whole process, but he ended up kind of like excusing himself after the prayer meditation and whatnot. When I got into like getting my verses together and trying to figure out like what the topic was for today and stuff like that. But still shout out to him for, at least doing that part and whatnot. That's something new. We haven't done that together. Usually it's been something that I've been doing by myself since I kicked this thing off. So, that was nice to listen to it with him and whatnot. And yeah, so shout out to him for being a contingency plan still. Let's keep him in prayer for his, what God is doing in his life and also with his career and everything like that. And yeah, so ultimately, there was a lot of stuff on my mind, y'all, after the prayer meditation. Now, it was centered around, I want to say, the topic because it had me reflecting about like life and death and all of that. But after that, man, my mind was just all over the place to a certain extent. I was looking up a lot of different stuff, but I think the theme of life and death was still there. And one of the questions that I had was like, why do we, if God and the Bible is constantly telling us that, the choices are abundant life, right? Everlasting life, right? Or death. Like, why? What is that really a choice? Like, well, you know what I mean? Like, why are we choosing death? Like, why are we not choosing to just follow God? Why are we not choosing to just do things his will and way? Now, I guess after reflecting a while about it and again looking up the different verses and things that I was looking up, I was like, okay, well, maybe it just boils down to people just wanting to do what they want to do. And so I guess they feel as if I'm doing what God wants me to do, then I'm not doing what I want to do. Like maybe that's what they feel or something like that. Or maybe that's what we feel or what I felt, you know what I'm saying, at some point in my life. I could, take ownership of that. Obviously, I was impatient, in a lot of ways and whatnot. I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it, and everything like that. I think I've been open and transparent about that and whatnot. Obviously in my book, but definitely in, other content and whatnot that has been created here for GSL. So yeah, I can be open and honest and say that, okay, if I think back on like, why did I do things the opposite of the way God said we should do it? I guess it boils down to that as one thing. Again, I know we had this conversation about life and how we don't value it and all that stuff. But yeah, so I mean, at some point, basically, at some point after reflecting on all of this stuff for a while and looking up different things and finding some verses that was kind of standing out, but at the same time just like at some point I had to just stop and just kind of pause and get quiet and ask for understanding, ask for guidance and whatnot, what to even look up or and everything like that. And so I can't remember at the moment the exact phrase that led me to this particular section. But I looked up something. I can't remember what it is at the moment. I looked it up and it brought me to like the account with Mary, Martha and Jesus talking about Lazarus. And so I ended up reading the entire John 11. So yeah, that's where my inspiration came from for today. And I'm going to share verses and things that stood out to me. And we'll see what the Lord had to say with this juice, y'all. All right. So here we go. John 11:4 says, when Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. So if you're not familiar with that section, basically what was going on before this verse is that basically he was getting word about Lazarus being dead, and or Lazarus being sick. He was just sick at that point. But he was in another place, and basically he would have to go back to a place that they was like ready to kill him at this place where Lazarus and Martha and Mary were. So obviously the disciples were trying to get him to not go back to that place, because they were like, hey, they're trying to kill you over there. You might not want to go back over there. But anywho, so basically that's what was going on before. And so he got word about Lazarus being sick. And he let the disciples know that, it was not a sickness unto death, but for the glory of God. Now, I guess that verse stood out to me this morning because it showed that he obviously knew what was going to happen, right? He knew the whole situation. He had already said, as soon as they talking about that he was sick, he already let the people know that, this isn't, basically this is not Lazarus's end. This is not to death. This is for the glory of God that this is happening. And he stayed where he was, I think, a couple more days for that. Now obviously, after that he decided to go ahead and go. And that's when the disciples were trying to discourage him from going and everything like that, because of that situation I just told you all about. And he was saying to them that, hey, well, I'm glad that this is happening, so now you guys can believe too, basically. I'm paraphrasing some things. Y'all can go read the entire thing word for word yourself. But just trying to get you guys where I'm at with this information. So then John 11:14 stood out to me, and it says, then said Jesus to them plainly, Lazarus is dead. So again, he stayed in the location where he was a couple of days extra after he found out that Lazarus was sick. And then so then when he finally decides to go back, he's like, all right, we're gonna go back. And the disciples are trying to tell him, no, don't do that, X, Y, and Z, they're trying to kill you over there, blah, 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 blah. And then he was telling them in a roundabout way that, Lazarus was dead, but he had said, like, Lazarus is asleep, and I'm gonna go wake him up. And then his disciples, and don't we do this, man? Don't we do this? Like, God to be telling us one thing in a deep way, and then, and then we just looking at with our carnal minds, or, maybe our humble understanding, or whatever the case is, we look at it like at face value. So at face value, when he said sleep, people are just thinking, oh, well, if he sleep, he's good. Jesus, you ain't got to go back. Like, X, Y, and Z. So then he plainly tells them, like, look, Lazarus is dead. Okay. Basically, this is inspiring me again, because I really, there is something to this stuff that Jesus said, and there's something to this whole thing. I got to figure it out. But anyway, I'm sorry, I had a side moment of inspiration, y'all. But anywho, but yeah, so he says to them plainly that Lazarus is dead. Now, the interesting thing for me about that is that I feel like well, obviously we know about the parables and different things that he spoke to the people, and a lot of times he was speaking, I say in riddles, but I guess in these days we would say in riddles, right? Or in a story form or whatever. He wouldn't say plainly all the time. Now, sometimes he did say plainly, but other times, he would say in roundabout ways, whatever, whatever. But either way, right? Either way, I guess we should listen, because I think if we're listening, obviously now, yeah, we have an understanding, right? We have a different understanding because we're on the outside of the situation looking into it. So I can look at this and say that in that first verse, he already said that the man was going to be risen from the dead. Like he already said that, like he said that in the first verse I shared with you all. But obviously the people didn't put those two things together, the ones that he was around and whatnot. So I don't know. I found that to be very interesting this morning as I was reflecting and writing these things down to share. But anyway, let's keep going. So then John 11:25, it says, Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? That stood out to me this morning, the believest thou this part. Obviously, again, this is the question for us. Like, do we believe, right? Do we believe what the Bible says? And then, do we believe that the choices of life and death? Do we believe, that's the ultimate question for all of us every day, right? But aside from that part, basically, again, what's going on in this section here, they went back. Martha came out to meet him and was, letting him know, man, if you were here, my brother would have died, X, Y, and Z. And basically, he, I guess in a reassuring way, right? It was like, hey, I'm the resurrection. Like, it does, basically he's saying it doesn't matter that he is quote unquote dead now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here, so I feel like he was saying plainly, like, I'm that time frame didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I don't think they got it, I don't think she got it, because I believe that when he started talking about resurrection, she's like, well, I know he's going to be resurrected and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I'm the resurrection. I'm the resurrection. Now I'm talking about what Jesus said. Now I'm talking about what Jesus said. I ain't talking about me. I'm talking about what Jesus said in this. But anyway, yeah, that's what he said and everything. But again, and she said she believed. Like, he asked, do you believe this? And she said yes, right? But then afterwards, we're gonna see that her actions. Not to say that she didn't believe. Perhaps she just didn't understand. Let's give it that. And that's us today too. To be honest, like, okay, so I'm reading this, I'm writing these things down, and the little naysayer, I'm saying, a little fly in the room, I'm saying, try to come and be like, well, this type of stuff ain't happening today, like, where the people that's being brought to life today, your uncle just passed a few weeks ago or whenever that was, right? So why didn't Jesus just bring him back, right? But here's the thing. Like, I mean, well, one, I believe that type of stuff do still happen today. I mean, I feel like a lot of people do have that type of testimony where, maybe they were sick and then it came back or whatever the case is. Like, people have that testimony. So I'm not taking away from them and their experience, their testimony. It hasn't been my testimony. I haven't seen it, right? I haven't seen it like that, but personally, you know what I'm saying? But, again, I mean, I think my humble life is an example of God's, the miracle of life and the miracle of God and the things that he do. And I do believe that there are other people that have experienced that on that deep level that, may have that Lazarus testimony. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there like that. Or even if regardless if you don't have the Lazarus testimony, I believe that, hey, if you survived an accident, or if you know, anything, any type of little thing that happens where people, survive horrible situations, then that could be your Lazarus moment. You know what I'm saying? So let's not do the comparison game. Like, let's not look down on, the preservation of life in any aspect. God gave you another day and everything like that. Take it at that, and that's a blessing by itself. Was my point there. But I noticed that the other thing that stood out to me, there was 2 points in this section where Jesus groaned. It's like he groaned to himself. I put that in the Go Deeper section as well. Y'all can read those 2 verses and whatnot. For me, I guess when I was reflecting on that, I felt like it was significant because obviously it's like he was groaning for a certain reason, but then I think the people saw his groaning as something else. Again, like not, and what I think, and this is just me, just as I was reading, what I imagine he was groaning about is just us and our lack of understanding and maybe even faith. Like, I feel like that's what he was groaning about. Now I don't know, maybe he was groaning about something else, because on a deeper level, maybe something else was going on too. But what I'm saying it is, like, that's what I'm thinking that he possibly was groaning about, because it was just like, okay, I've said plainly to several of y'all this, you know what I'm saying? I asked you to go do something, and now it's like you're still doubting with the words you're saying, you know what I mean? You're still like, because he had told them to go and remove the stone, and the same Martha that said she believed, right, was like, oh, but he's been in there about 4 days, he stink now, like, and whatnot. So it's like, and then he's like, well, didn't I just tell you that you're gonna see the glory of God on today like this? So anywho, I'm just saying, so I think the groaning probably came from that. Being like, I don't know how to say this to y'all. Like, I said it plainly. I done said it this way, that way, you still ain't getting it. And again, that's us. That's us right now. Like, we can't look down on Mary and Martha and them, the disciples and whatnot. Like, we can't look down on them, because we do the same thing all day, every day. So I don't know, just something to think about. That's me, so I'm sharing it with you. So then basically what happened after that, it was John 11:44, and it says, and he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus said unto them, loose him and let him go. So obviously, I imagined a mummy. That's what I imagined coming out of there, being bound up, in napkins, and whatnot. But I mean, I guess the point of that section was to show that, what was dead was now alive, and like he said he would in that first verse, like he said, what happened, that, exactly what he said happened there. And obviously it was proof for many on that day. And it was interesting, because if you go deeper in those verses in John 11, you're going to see when I believe it's like the Pharisees, they was plotting against them and everything like that. And someone was saying something along the lines of like, if we allow this to keep going, everybody's going to believe. And it's just like, man, like, when you really, really like think about these things a little deeper, you're like, man, that's the spirit of the Antichrist already working even then. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe people don't look at it like that, but that came to me. That's what came to me this morning as I was reading those verses and whatnot. Like, sometimes, we can be led by, I guess, like a better way to say, like, you will and not even know it. Like, you've been thinking you're doing the right thing. But if you have these evil intentions in your heart and you thinking that you're right or whatever the case is, it's like, don't know. We got to question motives sometimes. Like, where did that even come from? Like, why would you even think that? Just one of those things to think about. Anywho, one more verse to share today, and it is 1 John 5:20. It says, "And we know that the Son of God has come and has given us understanding, so that we may know him who is true, and we are in him who is true, in his Son Jesus Christ. He is the true God and eternal life." So yeah, friends, that's the juice. That's the juice this morning. I hope that this encourages you and inspires you. If there's any dead thing in your life, hey, I guess look for your Lazarus experience. You know what I'm saying? Look for God to wake that thing up. He can do it. He can do it. But hey, do thou believe, huh? The Bible verse of today is John 15:5. It says, "I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, ye can do nothing." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspirational juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And there you go, Facebook and YouTube. Doing this music thing for mama, man. I'm doing this music thing for mama. I feel like it's been again, because I know sometimes it be like lagging. Now I was gonna say, I feel like the music be throwing the sound off in the after show, but y'all let me know. Y'all can let me know. But regardless of that, man, I hope that again that everybody had a good weekend. Everything like that. Brand new week, brand new day. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be alive, life, health, and strength. I'm excited. Got some things in the works. Spoke with this lady who's very excited about my book, Madam Miraculous in the Misty Laboratory. They're going to be giving me an interview tomorrow, and she even offered to allow me to have a book signing at an event that she's doing. So I'm like, man, that's amazing. Hopefully I can go ahead and prepare some, get some more books and that. Shout out to my mom who pushed me away because I brought them their books on Saturday, and she wanted me to shout it out at her event, and then they ended up selling one of their books. I'm like, Mama, this is supposed to be your book, and you just sold it. So now I gotta get you another book. But it's all good. I'm thankful to the person that purchased. Thank you for the support. It's funny. I'm telling the people at her event about you as well, and I think again, obviously the name is going below, but I mean, it is what it is. They say, man. I'm willing to explain it. It's not a situation where, I'm willing to explain it, and I think when I did explain it, people was like, "That's true," and and I think people understand at the end of the day. Speaking of GSL, what did you all think of our new segments? Explore more together. Shout out to Boomer Smith, man. Again, awesome guy. I like all the little tweaks and special things that he put into Explore More Together. Shout out to Romantic Blessings as well for this collaboration. Super excited about it. Yeah. If you have not seen it, check it out. To make another page, I guess, to dedicate to Explore More Together. So that's something I need to, I guess, work on. Sometime this week it'll be great. I don't have anything too much planned this week. like no events per se. I mean, I know we gotta do this the event that we didn't do but that's the schedule for this Sunday. So hopefully everything goes well with that. We'll just keep that family in prayer and whatnot. Yeah, we'll just keep that. But yeah, so yeah, that's what's going on. Thank you to everybody that supported, my mom and her endeavor and her event. Sammy was really sweet and checked in and asked how everything went. So shout out to you, Sammy. You're an awesome guy. But yeah, that's what's going on, y'all. I appreciate everybody, tuning in, listening, watching, supporting, liking, subscribing, all those different things. It's a blessing, and I thank you all for that. Thank you all for the support in any aspect. Truly appreciate it. And yeah, y'all just, like I said, keep your girl in prayer. And I just say to you all, y'all have a great day.